Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome back. Today is Friday, May 8th, 2026. And on Fridays, we do the Soft Life reading. Now, keep in mind, these readings are not about being rich or living the luxurious life. It's about taking care of your mind and your emotions, okay? And your overall well-being. Now, keep in mind, I do not tell grown people what to do, okay? I'm not your mama. So just think of me more as a companion on your journey, and I will share some tips, techniques, and resources from time to time that I have incorporated into my own life that I found very helpful. Okay, so this is just to help you to understand what's going on in your life and how you can move forward without being overwhelmed. Okay. So always take what you need, throw the rest out. If it doesn't apply, let it fly. So I asked, where are my viewers currently at on their soft life journey? The first card I have here is Crack Open with Rose. Okay. And since I know where you are currently on your soft life journey, you gotta forgive me, I had a root canal, so I'm trying my best not to ding my tooth. So that I know that where you are currently on your soft life journey, how is the best way for you to move forward? And I cast out number 56. This is called the Traveler or the Wanderer, and the wisdom of detachment. And for your outcome card, I asked what is happening on its own naturally, what is naturally unfolding in this situation, and I have here caretaker. Okay, so starting with this Crack Open card, there is a lot of things going on in this card. The first thing I noticed was, of course, the moon phases. We have the two roses here that entwine like a caduceus, and we have the sword pointing down. So let's start with the roses, okay? So the roses represents love, healing, kindness, and learning how to handle feelings in a healthier and wiser manner, okay? The thorns on the rose shows that softness still needs protection and boundaries, okay? Resembling caduceus enhances healing, balance, and change. Now, the caduceus is the staff, and we talk a lot about mythology over here too, is the staff of Mercury, which also means mediator, negotiator, and protector. So this will, for some of you, depending on the depiction you have in your own cards, this can also represent the Two of Swords if you're following along with tarot, okay? So also inner peace and becoming stronger through life experiences, okay? So the downward sword symbolizes the end of arguing, fighting, and unnecessary stress, okay? There's one reader that I like, I forgot her name, but when she always sees the sword pointing down, is silence, okay? Now, we know swords are used for fighting. So with it being downwards, you're not fighting anymore, right? You're not arguing. You're not getting caught up in the shenanigans anymore, okay? So these roses too, being intertwined like a caduceus, also represents balance and reconciliation, okay? So on the Two of Swords, especially in a business reading, it means a mediator, right? Not getting involved or anything like that. But I wanted to tell you that reconciliation is one of the seven sacraments of Catholicism, okay? And in this context, right, in this case, it's the reestablishment of civil relations after conflict, right? Basically, you're squashing the beef, all right? And it could be with anyone or anything, and it doesn't mean that you're going to be buddy-buddy again. Reconciliation doesn't mean that. It just means that you're squashing the beef, all right? We can coexist in a peaceful manner, all right? If you and your friends about on vocabulary.com, it gave you the example. If you want to go out, want your friends to hang out, and you know two of them done got into it or something, but you really want to have a nice time, you kind of want to mediate and squash the beef. You don't want to take sides or anything like that, right? And I used to always try to encourage that with some people in my own neighborhood coming up, because a lot of our friends, they would get into it with each other. And one time I got involved with my friends and tried to hear both sides of their stories. And then next thing you know, they turned against me, right? So you kind of want to, like, if you can, squash it on your own, all right? In conflict resolution in business, right? You want to squash the beef with your own. But if you're a friend, you just want to kind of stay neutral, okay? Because they're both your friends, right? You don't want to choose a side. And 9 times out of 10, they're mad at something that neither one of them know they're mad at, right? So back to these moon phases right here, right? So what this tells me is that you're experiencing a change, right? And growth over time. Now the moon cycle, I wasn't gonna say it, but normally it's a 28-day cycle, right? But it may take you a little longer. So you might be monitoring how you think and how you feel. You're paying attention more to your emotions and your inner thoughts. So I would suggest that you journal, or in your iPhones or something like that, take note of that, okay? Again, paying attention to your emotions and your feelings and your needs, okay? So with the actual card itself, this card talks about protection, okay? But it talks about more protection, like in protection jewelry, okay? With your clothing. On Saturdays, you may notice I wear black, which a lot of people in my path wear black on Saturdays. Or you might see, it talked about hair colors. One of my favorite practitioners, she wears purple hair, okay? When I first saw her, I haven't seen her in a long time, but she dyed her hair purple. And it was more for protection, right? Spiritual protection. But what you're learning about the soft life, it's not about being weak, okay? Keep in mind that I come from a place like many of you do. Some of you can't fathom the hood or the ghetto. You say those words, but you really don't know what the ghetto or the hood really is, right? And keep in mind that you can be gentle and protect yourself. But in those type of environments, the environment like I grew up in, sometimes you have to get with people. I know that. I was talking to a judge before. I'm just gonna keep it real. I was talking to a judge, and the judge said, "Why don't you just walk away?" And I said, "You can't walk away in the hood. Like, come on, judge. You see videos. You pull up a video right now of somebody trying to walk away from a fight, right? And what they'll do is that they will harass you every single day of your life. They will throw stuff at you. Some of them are bold enough to jump in your face, right? So at that point, what are you supposed to do? Okay? But what you're learning is to peep game, okay? You're being aware of those type of people and situations, and we're going to talk more about that here, okay? So you're learning to be kind without letting other people drain your energy or get on your nerves. Okay? You're focusing less on your flaws. Okay? I can see. I have a scale, right? I can hear myself and others, right? And we all have flaws. Some of them aren't as noticeable as others, but we all have something wrong with us, all right? Even with the best plastic surgeon, there's something wrong, okay? I see my hair is gray, okay? I can hear how I talk. Like I said, I had a root canal, all right? I can see everything. Like I said, I know I've gained weight, okay? But I'm at the point now in my life that I am accepting my flaws, okay? It gives you so much peace. Because believe it or not, they never stopped me what size I was, you know? But anyways, so you're moving out of survival mode. And I used to tell people, when you're in those type of environments or those situations, if you can survive in Chirac, Sad Nasty, whatever y'all nickname y'all areas, stuff like that, you can thrive anywhere. Okay? You just gotta leave that mentality back from where you came from. Okay? So you're getting out of survival mode. And once you get out of survival mode, your nervous system resets. Now, for some of you, I've noticed, and I spoke on it before, that you think that because there's not a lot of drama and stuff jumping off, it's abnormal to you. So a lot of times you'll see people, or you'll say it's boring, right? Because you're used to it. So you keep your butt right where you came from, okay? But your nervous system is going to start resetting, okay? It's going to feel like something is wrong. When you just got to really learn how to relax and chill, okay? So now that we know where you are currently on your soft life journey, what is the best way for you to move forward? And I cast here number 56, which is the traveler, or the wanderer on the wisdom of detachment. So the first thing I thought about was the spiritual law of attachment. And basically what it says, and this is interpreted by Joanne Sacred Scribes. Her real name is Joanne Walmsley, and she wrote this on September 21st, 2010. Okay? Basically what it says, anything that you're attached to can control you. And it also talks about the trappings of wealth. So I'm going to highly recommend that you go into the universal spiritual laws as interpreted by, and I'm going to say Joanne Sacred Scribes, because that's the ones that I read and got down in my scroll, all right? But I want to read the main concept of the law of attachment. The spiritual law of attachment teaches that suffering arises when we tie our sense of happiness, identity, or security to people, outcomes, or possessions. Make sure you can see that. Attachments form emotional and energetic bonds rooted in fear, unmet needs, and expectations, which can limit our freedom and inner peace. That gives me Eight of Swords energy. When we practice awareness, forgiveness, and unconditional love without needing control or guarantees, we begin to release these bonds, these karmic cords or ribbons, okay? Letting go of attachment does not mean withdrawing love. It means choosing freedom, trust, and alignment with our higher selves. So back to this I Ching. I Ching number 56. So what you see here is an image of fire. Right here, these first 3 bars, right? It's fire over mountain. I'm not going to go there, but I'm going to tell you where it's at. Because if you know how I think, fire on a mountain. This is fire on mountain, right? That's Exodus 19:18. Okay? And I'm going to suggest that, again, you look at Auntie Scribes, Sister Joanne Sacred Scribes, at angel number 1918, because it does have a message that goes with this whole reading. So, fire means being alert, right? So that Ace of Wands energy. Noticing things quickly. Noticing things quickly means clocking it. It means peeping game, okay? That's what it means. I was thinking, so that's the best way to, when somebody acts like clock it, or what does peep game mean? It means noticing things quickly, okay? And staying aware. The mountain means being steady, still, and not fully at home yet, okay? So together it shows you are moving through a place that is not permanent. So you're moving, just like the moon, okay? So you're more in the transitionary stage, a transition phase in your life, in between stages, okay? So I guess you're on a 180, right? You're not fully turned around yet. You haven't completely changed your life completely, right? But you're not fully where you used to be, thank God, okay? My mother told me that. Thank God you're not where you used to be. You know, I know you're not there where you want to be yet, but thank God you're not where you used to be, okay? So again, not fully where you used to be, and not fully where you're going yet, okay? This also gave me transitional housing, okay? But this is a warning too, for you to move carefully, like you're in a new environment, okay? So, I was young once, okay? And I used to go to the club, and I used to go over people's house, right? And what did you do? You peep the scene. You clock everybody in there, right? You're watching. You're not speaking as much. You got to remember, closed mouths means open ears. Okay? There ain't nobody talking and something going on and they listening. Okay? And even when you're in new cities or environments or anything like that, you want to pay attention. You want to know the laws of the land. You want to know about the people. Okay? So don't hold too tightly. This is what this means. Going back to the law of attachment. Don't hold on too tightly to things, people, or situations, because they are still changing. Okay, people change. Places change. I went into a place, an environment where I used to live at in Phoenix, and it was completely different. When I went back home, it was changes that I couldn't even believe. I couldn't believe the street I grew up on is now a 2-way when it was a 1-way. When all my life while I was there, you know? So you want to focus on staying aware, protecting your peace, and learning from each moment, instead of trying to force things exactly how you want it, or getting stressed when things don't go your way. You got to be careful of that, right? Because Sometimes you'll meet controlling people that are accusing you of being controlling. Okay, so there's got to be some coming together, some meeting in the middle. So the last card I have for you is what is naturally unfolding in this situation, right? So you're naturally shifting into a caretaker phase. This is the phase you're at, because these are the phases of the moon. The phases is caretaking. And what this gives me is Six of Pentacles energy, Taurus energy. Okay? So, and we are in Taurus season, matter of fact. Okay? Where giving, helping, and supporting others is the main energy showing up right now, right? In the Light Seekers Tarot deck, right? My grandma used to say, don't give to one without giving to the other. And so you'll see the person standing there and got a gift for both people. In the Rider-Waite Tarot, you'll see them just giving to one person, right? But it's equal. In my other deck, which deck is it? The Illumination Tarot, right? There is food on the table, right? It's like a buffet, so it's for everyone, okay? So, you don't want to give to one without giving to the other. And that includes giving to yourself. So you're starting to realize that you cannot keep giving without taking care of yourself too. Now, nobody likes the word no. And when you tell people no, they're going to ask you why. You do not need an explanation, right? My god sister, she said once, she said, I can't do that. Good enough, right? You don't have to get into over-explaining like, no, I can't do that, right? So what's happening on its own is a wake-up call to balance. Not just caring for others, but for yourself too. I've gone over this forever and ever, all right? Mother's Day is coming up. I am a mother, okay? And I've seen it with some of my friends' mothers, which I really think is noble. I saw my friends be dripped down, fresh as I don't know what, right? But their mothers didn't have the hottest, greatest, latest, and everything. They couldn't afford it, to be honest, right? But they made sure their children had, right? I like that. I don't think, me personally, this is just me, I cannot have my hair done and clothes fresh to death, and my sons, you know, even when my oldest son was little, my son's looking raggedy. Their hair ain't cut. Their clothes is dirty. Their shoes is busted. No, we both gonna look busted if that's the case. But if I have my choice, I'm gonna make both of us look good. But if I can't do that, I prefer for my children to look good. You understand what I'm saying? But we're getting to a phase now that you gotta take care of yourself too, okay? So sometimes, yes, I can go get my hair done. Yes, I can have a day to myself and get a babysitter, okay? Sometimes I love when my oldest son cooks. I think he's a better cook than I am, okay? Or any of those type of situations. That's just a parent a mother's thing, okay? But now you're setting boundaries, right? And not just setting boundaries, drawing that line in the sand, but you're enforcing them. And you know that you matter just as much as anyone else and deserve care and respect. And learning to receive help are naturally coming into focus as part of this phase. So you're letting people help you. I have a friend, wants to do everything, right? Don't allow nobody else to do nothing. And I'm like, no, we're not doing that. You know, I'm gonna help you, you know. And I understand it because sometimes when people help you, they're not helping you, it's a bribe. That's what Master Ray said, it's a bribe, okay? It's something to dangle over your head. Well, I did this for you, so you do this for me. Now, you didn't do it with you didn't have the right motives in heart, you know? So I understand that. You gotta be careful of that. Okay? So overall, this crack rose, I Ching 56, and caretaker. This is a season of learning to give with love, while also not letting stress. Let's start it again. Overall, this is a season of learning to give with love, while also not letting stress, other people problems, or draining situations disturb your calm, aka protecting your peace, emotional safety, and inner quiet, while simultaneously caring for your needs and allow others to take care of you too. Okay? So that's all that I have for you today. I hope that helps. I will see you next week. I think I'm gonna go back to just the pictures and reading this to you, okay? I like that better. That way you can look and study the symbolisms on your own time, all right? So, have a great week. Have a great day. Take care. Ciao.